Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here, once again doing at-home style because of the inclement weather, so apologies for that. We were going to begin today's show with a lot of Tyreek Hill conversation, Micah Parsons recruiting the current Dolphins receiver after he demanded a trade. We will get to that, but we have a big update on the Mike McCarthy situation. The Chicago Bears have requested an interview with Mike McCarthy. As of filming, ESPN's Todd Archer, Adam Schefter, saying the Cowboys have not yet made a decision, at least responded to the Bears yet. They've got some time to do it on the interview request. This is noteworthy because it means there is another team that is at least interested in potentially hiring Mike McCarthy as their head coach. We're going to break all this down here in just a second, but as a reminder, please subscribe to us here at the Cowboys Report. I know this is more of the podcast style without the graphics and maybe not as entertaining or fun, but bad weather means I literally can't get into the office right now, so we're doing at-home videos instead. Hit that sub button. We're going for 2 Cowboys videos a day at minimums throughout the offseason. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. The Cowboys have 3 options here as it relates to what to do with this interview request from the Chicago Bears for Mike McCarthy. Number 1 is simply approve the interview request. Jerry implied he'd be open to that. Yesterday, after the game, was asked hey, what if the team wants to talk to Mike? He said, go talk. I would. I let Zeke do it when they cut him. You know, it's not healthy to have somebody around that wants to be someplace else. Now, maybe Mike wants that. Maybe Mike doesn't. Non-zero chance this is McCarthy's agent, Don Yee, trying to kind of kickstart this process here for the Cowboys and Mike, so Mike's not left out in limbo over the next 8 days or so. I mentioned the 8 days because the Cowboys can decline this interview request if they want, or if McCarthy just doesn't want to interview, period, for now. McCarthy's deal ends on January 14th. It's almost at that point like an exclusivity clause in his contract. He can talk with anybody at that point because the deal's over. He's out of a contract at that point. So the Bears, if they want to, can just wait it out. If the Cowboys say no, we get to January 14th and there's still no deal, the Bears can interview him then. They can do that. Now, they're not going to have a head coach hired by then. There's not enough time to do the in-person with the way they've changed the rules with virtual interviews first. They're not going to make a hire by January 14th. So the Bears can wait this one out if they want to. The other option for Dallas, if they decline, is to extend Mike McCarthy. And at some point, they're kind of going to tip their hands a little bit here. If they approve the interview request, boy, it seems like he's gone. If they decline the interview request, boy, it seems like you'd keep him then, right? And I think, again, I've made the comment before, over under Sunday feels like a good time to make a decision finally because that times up with the Eagles playoff game, which the Cowboys did last time with Jason Garrett, and you know how much they love the attention. It's a bad process for the Cowboys here, and that continues to bother me on that front. So few more thoughts to come on this, but what is your one-word reaction to the Bears wanting to interview Mike McCarthy? Let me know in the comment section, the pinned comments of today's show. My one word is process, and I'm going to hammer this home a lot throughout the offseason, so I apologize if you get bored of me hearing this, but I do think it matters. This is about a process, not the results. You can't always control the results. You can't. Your process, though, can be good. And letting this linger and probably allowing it to continue to linger for a few more days is not a good process. It has been 5 years, to the day, actually, since you fired Mike McCarthy, or brought in Mike McCarthy, excuse me. You should know by now. If you want him as your head coach, you probably should have done it last year, but you can get it done right now. You can do the full court press and make it clear you want Mike McCarthy back. And if you don't want Mike McCarthy back, then move on. Start your process. All these other teams are getting interview requests in. The Jets have already done interview requests. You can go interview Mike Vrabel if you want to interview him right now. Start your process yesterday. Start it today. Don't let this drag out and continue to be a lingering issue for a Cowboys team that sometimes feels like they're too obsessed with the attention and not the results on the field. Boost your process to get better results. Let's move now to Tyreek Hill conversation. Very clear he wants out of the Dolphins organization. Going so far as to, make that comment pretty clear after the game. He pulled himself out of the game and did not go back in. He made a Photoshop of his head on Antonio Brown with the viral video of Antonio Brown piecing out of the Bucs game and then never playing again in the NFL. Micah Parsons now advocating for Tyreek Hill, tweeting at him, saying we're the fastest duo in the league. We don't have state income taxes. This is going to be a real major NFL storyline, the Tyreek Hill trade conversation. Can't say I'm surprised by it at all. And the Cowboys, by the way, and I'll make this point, then we'll spend some more time on it. The Dallas Cowboys can add Tyreek Hill. They have the money. They have the funds. They have the ability to pay Tyreek Hill if they want to. If you want to, though, is a very real question and not as maybe cut and dry as it was a few years ago. Before we get to that, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It is playoff time. Not for the Cowboys, for the rest of pro and college football, though. So don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You can get in on the action in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. I always advise the flex play. That way you can go 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, whatever, and still get your Prize Picks slate to hit. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't actually even need to win to get the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Download the app today over at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show along with that code CLNS. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. So more on Tyreek Hill. The number one thing is the money side of this, right? Here's how the money works out. $10 million base salary in 2025, $15.85 million option bonus. That actually gets counted over 5 years on the salary cap. There's void years on his current deal. About $2.8 million in bonuses. So if you trade for Tyreek Hill, you owe him about $29 million in cash this upcoming season, $16 million on the cap. That's it. Now the Dolphins, I will make note, also save about $0, which they might have some reluctance to do this since they literally just paid Tyreek Hill. And I'm sure there is some frustration with the handling of everything from Hill from the Dolphins organization right now, which is a red flag for the Cowboys too, frankly. Now, there is a sizable jump in what Hill is owed in 2026. He's got $29 million in salary, $6.1 million in bonuses. That's $35.1 million in cash, plus some of that leftover option bonus counting money. So it's $38.1 million on the cap in 2026. That's a big, big figure. You can cut him to save all but $12.6 million of it, but then you're back paying $29 million in cash for a season. Or you space it out over 2 years, so it's a little bit easier, but you're looking at $29 million at minimum for one season, or suddenly we're jumping up to $29 and $35 million for 2 seasons. So it's expensive. And the Cowboys can do it if they want to. He's certainly not going to take a pay cut. I promise you on that front. Look, I am a little bit worried about the idea of trading for Tyreek Hill. Look, you can pay him. He brings you speed. He's a big play threat. He also was clearly disgruntled after one bad year in Miami. That's a red flag for me. What is actually painfully ironic is I do think the trade cost to acquire Tyreek Hill would probably be about that 4th-round pick you gave up. That would be my guess, that you would have about a 4th-round pick trade value, given the contract and age and the fit he's throwing and all that stuff, and you don't have a 4th-round pick. So it's kind of funny how that one works out. So in a bubble, would you trade for Tyreek Hill? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Go vote right now. I want to wrap up because we haven't had a chance to talk about it. Jerry Jones' comments on Cooper Rush and the incentives that Rush was due did not hit because he did not play in the final game of the season. Jerry claimed afterwards that he didn't know about it. He didn't know Cooper Rush had incentives in his deal. He didn't even know about it until he read about it. One of 2 things happened here, and to be clear, neither are good. Jerry Jones is either lying or he is ignorant. Jerry was either playing the exaggeration card and he did know about it, was lying, and was like, it was such a non-factor. I didn't even know about it. How could this be the reason why we didn't play Cooper Rush if I didn't know about it? But he did know about it, and they just don't want to give the real reason because they're the Cowboys and they're stupid. Or the owner who wants to play dress-up GM didn't know what was in his players' contracts. Either of those options suck. Neither of them are good. You just refuse to admit the reality, or you didn't know what the reality was. Those are bad, and it is indicative of why I don't trust this Cowboys front office. If you're going to play GM, Jerry, you've got to know all the things a GM is supposed to know. It can't just be a dress-up title. It can't. You have to do the responsibilities then. You can't get the blame and the credit if you're not doing the job properly. Now, multiple people in the organization knew what the bonuses were, obviously. But again, this is not a thing where we as fans know more than the GM does. That's not supposed to be the case. Look, Rush needed 65 of 65 snaps to get to the 55% bonus. They would have gotten there at least pretty darn close to it. I don't know where Jane got the 80 snaps figure. Wonder if someone of the Cowboys fed her that information to, again, excuse why they wanted to play Trey Lance instead of just saying we wanted to play Trey Lance. A lot of stuff bothers me about this offseason. I know I've adopted the chill guy in season. I'm not sure I am going to adopt a chill guy mindset. One more note before we go. As I sit here filming this from Nick Harris, Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy are set to meet this afternoon. So maybe we do a third video for you. We'll find out in the not too distant future. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit that sub button right now.